Part 1. The Broken Signal. Captain Eric Hall stood on the bridge of the Horizon Dawn. Outside the window, the massive gas giant Jupiter spun slowly, its red and white bands glowing in the sunlight. The ship was quiet, except for the low hum of the engines and the occasional beep of the navigation system. Lieutenant Karen Lewis, sitting at the sensor station, leaned forward, staring at the display. "Captain, you need to see this," Karen said, her voice calm but tense. She pointed to a signal pattern on the screen. It was weak, faint, and full of static. The pattern repeated irregularly, almost like someone was trying to speak but could not form the words clearly. Eric moved closer, squinting at the screen. "Where is it coming from?" Karen typed quickly. "It seems to be from a satellite, or some sort of relay, in the outer reaches of the solar system. It's not moving like a normal ship. It looks abandoned." Dr. Lisa Brown, the ship's xenologist, came over. She had been studying old alien languages for years and had a knack for noticing subtle patterns. "Let me take a look. There might be something behind the static." Lisa worked for hours, feeding the signal through translation programs, trying different code patterns, and running analysis on the faint audio. Finally, she leaned back and said, "There are words in this. They repeat over and over. Help, children. Help, children. It is some kind of distress message." Eric felt a chill. "Distress message? From whom?" Lisa shook her head. "I don't know yet. But it's not human. I think it is alien." Eric turned to Karen. "Can we trace it? Find the source?" Karen nodded. "Yes, Captain. The relay is hidden behind an asteroid cluster. We'll need to navigate carefully, but we can get close enough for visual confirmation." The Horizon Dawn changed course. They moved slowly, carefully weaving through rocky debris. After several tense hours, a small object appeared on the main screen. It was a thin, damaged satellite with strange markings that glowed faintly. Eric, Lisa, and Karen prepared a small shuttle to board the relay and examine it. The shuttle detached from the main ship, its engines quiet in the vacuum. As they approached the relay, the surface shimmered faintly, almost like it was alive. The holographic interface flickered to life as Lisa reached out with her hand. Suddenly, a hologram appeared in the shuttle. A thin alien with large dark eyes and pale skin looked at them. Its body had faint glowing lines, almost like veins of light under the skin. The alien raised its hand slowly. Eric stepped forward, unsure how to react. "Can you understand us?" The alien spoke in a soft, trembling voice. Lisa's translation system worked to decode it. "I am Sira of the Thalian Alliance. Our worlds have been destroyed. We begged for help. Now only this relay remains. Please, help us." Karen gasped. "Thalian Alliance? We have never contacted them before." Lisa shook her head. "It seems they have been sending distress signals for many years. Most never reached anyone, and some were ignored or exploited." Eric felt a heavy weight settle in his chest. "How did it come to this? Why are they so desperate?" Sira's hologram flickered. "Our worlds were peaceful. We traded, we built, we learned. Then the Drax horde came. They burned our cities, destroyed our fleets, and enslaved many of our people. We tried to buy peace, but they refused. We are almost gone. We send messages across the galaxy, hoping someone will answer. You are the first." Lisa took notes quickly. "What do you mean by almost gone? Are there survivors?" Sira's eyes darkened. "Some survive. We hide where we can. Our children, our scientists, our families. We do not have an army. We only have hope that someone strong will answer." Eric swallowed. "We will send your message back to Earth. They will decide how to respond." Sira's hologram flickered and seemed to smile faintly. "We are afraid of you, but we are more afraid of them. If you are as strong as your records say, use that strength not against us, but against them. The relay's power began to fade. Sierra's hologram dimmed and disappeared. Eric, Lisa, and Karen returned to the Horizon Dawn, their minds heavy with the gravity of what they had witnessed. Back on the ship, Eric sent all the data to Earth. It took hours to transmit across the vast distance, and while they waited, he sat quietly, thinking about what he had seen. He had been in war zones before, seen suffering and death, but nothing like this. Children pleading for help across the stars, entire worlds burned, civilizations almost wiped out. On Earth, President Laura King listened carefully as the reports came in. She was a calm leader, thoughtful and decisive. Beside her sat Secretary of Defense Daniel Clark, frowning, and Ambassador Maria Price, who leaned forward with concern. "This is unprecedented," Daniel said. "It could be a trap. We do not know their enemies. We do not know the Drax horde. Sending forces could be extremely dangerous." Maria shook her head. "And doing nothing condemns them. These are beings begging for help. If humanity is capable, we must choose to act. We are measured by what we do in moments like this." Laura King thought for a long time. Finally, she spoke. "We will respond, not with a small force or a polite show of help. We will respond with strength, total war if necessary, but only to save the innocent, not to take, not to conquer." Back on the Horizon Dawn, Eric received the orders. "Captain Hall, Earth has made its decision. Prepare to mobilize. You will have full authority to act in defense of the Thalian Alliance." Eric nodded slowly. "Understood. We'll do everything we can to protect them, and we will not fail." Lisa and Karen exchanged a glance. There was fear, yes, but also determination. They had been given a chance to change the course of a war before it began. The fate of Thalians, and perhaps the galaxy, now rested with them. The Horizon Dawn changed course toward the outer reaches of the solar system where the Drax horde had been reported. Eric stood at the bridge, looking out at the stars. He thought of Sierra's words, "Use your strength not against us, but against them." He felt a quiet promise form in his heart. Humanity would answer the cry for help. They would not turn away. They would fight with every ship, every strategy, and every life they could spare to protect those who could not protect themselves. As the ship moved forward, the gas giant faded behind them, replaced by the darkness of space. Somewhere out there, the Drax horde waited. Somewhere out there, countless children prayed for rescue. And somewhere out there, humanity prepared to step into a war that could decide the fate of many worlds. Eric turned to Karen and Lisa. "Let's make sure Sierra and her people see that humanity keeps its promises. Ready the ship. We leave in 1 hour." Karen nodded. "Aye, Captain. All systems ready." Lisa smiled faintly. "Let's hope our first step into this war saves more than it costs." The Horizon Dawn powered up its engines, casting long shadows across the deck. Outside, the stars stretched into streaks as the ship prepared to leave the safety of known space. Humanity had answered the call. The war was coming, and they would meet it head on. The message had been sent, the choice had been made, humanity was moving forward. Part 2. The first step into a burning galaxy. Admiral Samuel Carter sat in the command room of Earth's Central Space Station. The room was filled with maps of star systems, glowing red and green dots marking known fleets. He rubbed his temples and looked at Commander Jason Hill, who was tapping at a console, running simulations on the Drax Horde's fleet movements. "We cannot underestimate them," Samuel said. "Every report from the Thalian Alliance shows a brutal, calculated enemy. They do not negotiate. They destroy." Jason nodded. "Our data confirms it. Their ships are fast, heavily armed, and they fight with a mix of speed and surprise. But they expect their enemies to be predictable. Humans are anything but predictable. We can use that. Major Olivia Scott, the ground combat expert, leaned over a table covered with schematics. And we will need every advantage we can get. They don't leave room for mistakes on the battlefield. Our joint units need to be trained for speed, flexibility, and protecting civilians. Samuel looked out of the window at Earth's orbit. Then we train, we plan, and we strike smart. No hesitation. Meanwhile, the Horizon Dawn, under Captain Eric Hall, moved toward the Thalian worlds. The ship was accompanied by a small convoy of human supply and support vessels. The crew knew the journey ahead would be long and dangerous. Karen Lewis monitored the communications. "Captain, we are approaching Arail, the first Thalian world. Orbital scans show severe damage. Most cities are in ruins and energy signatures are faint." Eric nodded. "Prepare a landing team. Dr. Brown, you and I will go. Olivia Scott will lead the defense units on the ground. We need to assess the situation and start evacuation if necessary." When they landed, the scene was worse than they expected. Fires still burned in the distance. Buildings were hollowed shells, their skeletons blackened from orbital bombardment. Refugee camps had sprung up in open areas, tents made of scavenged materials, and small groups of Thalian children wandered, some crying, some staring silently at the humans. Sira was there to meet them. She was thinner, paler, and more tired than her hologram had shown, but her eyes lit with a faint hope. "You came," she said simply. Eric stepped forward. "We came because you asked. We will not leave until your people are safe." Olivia knelt to speak to a small Thalian child, Raleigh, who had lost both parents. "Hi, Raleigh. We're here to help. You don't have to be afraid anymore." The child hesitated, then slowly took Olivia's hand. Lisa observed Sira closely. "Your people have been through much. How many survivors do you have?" Sira hesitated. "Thousands. But every day is dangerous. The Drax patrols near the edges. We cannot stay in one place for long." Eric nodded. "We will change that. But first, we need information. Show us everything about your enemies. Their attacks, tactics, anything you have." Sira led them to a secure archive, displaying images and recordings of past Drax raids. Cities burned in minutes. Fleets were destroyed with little warning. The Drax used psychological terror as much as weapons, leaving survivors traumatized and scattered. Jason studied the data on a tablet. They expect weak, slow enemies who negotiate and retreat. They underestimate opponents who act unpredictably. Humans can be that unknown factor. The Thalian Council, however, was not fully convinced. Counselor Rel Thorin, a tall, stern alien with dark markings, spoke up. "We cannot fully trust humans. You bring power beyond our imagining, yet you are strangers. How can we be sure you will not take our worlds once we are weak?" Sira raised her voice gently. "We have no other choice. The Drax will destroy us if we do nothing. Humans have offered help, not conquest. We must take that chance." That night, the first joint human-Thalian patrol was deployed to a border moon. It was a small test, meant to see how humans and Thalians work together. The Drax raiding group was small, expecting an easy strike. Instead, they found a coordinated defense. Humans led feints, using debris to hide movements. Thalians fired from hidden positions. When the Drax tried to flank, Jason led a surprise counterattack that trapped them. Olivia directed the ground team with precision. Her Marines moved quickly, securing landing zones and evacuating civilians. The Thalians copied human methods, learning in real time how to fight without losing discipline or morality. The Drax were shocked by the speed and aggression. They had never faced an enemy who used cunning and care for the weak at the same time. When the battle ended, the Drax fleet retreated, their losses significant. The Thalian survivors watched the humans carefully. Some were still fearful, whispering to each other that humans were like storms, fierce and unpredictable. Sierra took a deep breath and broadcast a short message to other Thalian worlds. We asked for help. Humanity answered. Word spread quickly. In refugee camps, in the remnants of cities, and through damaged relay stations, the phrase became a symbol of hope. Thalians began to whisper about the Stormwalkers, the humans who had come to fight for them. Eric and Lisa stood on a balcony overlooking the camp. Fires were still smoldering in some areas, but children laughed as humans and Thalians rebuilt small shelters and shared food. Eric looked at the stars. "We are just beginning, Lisa. There is much more to come, but we have started. We cannot fail them now." Lisa nodded. "Do you think we can keep being what we are, kind and strong at the same time?" Eric smiled faintly. "We have to try. It is the only choice that matters." In orbit, the Horizon Dawn and its fleet prepared for the next mission. They would strike further into Thalian space, showing the Dracs that humans did not come to conquer, but to defend. And in the hearts of the Thalian people, a spark of hope had begun. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would soon learn that help had a new face. Part 3. Escalation and the Price of Mercy. The Dracs horde had taken notice. Warlord Karn Vek, a towering figure with cold eyes and sharp armor, studied the reports of their recent defeat at the border moon. Their soldiers had never been so unprepared. Entire fleets destroyed in minutes, ships lost without warning. He slammed his fist on the command table. "These humans are not like the others," he growled. "They fight like storms, unpredictable and relentless. We must strike harder, faster, and show them the cost of interference." Meanwhile, on the human side, Admiral Samuel Carter and Commander Jason Hill were planning their next moves. They gathered in the strategy room aboard the Central Command Station, a vast circular room filled with holographic star maps. "Karn is preparing a large offensive," Jason said, pointing to several red markers on the map. "They will strike quickly before we can reinforce the Thalian worlds." Samuel nodded. "Then we must strike first. We cannot just defend. We need to cut their supply lines, their shipyards, their command nodes. Total war, but with rules. Protect civilians, avoid destroying food and water sources, target only the war machine." Major Olivia Scott was training ground units for urban combat. Human Marines worked side by side with Thalian volunteers. They practiced evacuation drills, defensive maneuvers, and coordination between species. Lisa Brown and Thalian doctors worked together, preparing medical teams to handle casualties on the battlefield. They shared techniques, medicines, and knowledge of different species' physiology. The bond between humans and Thalians grew stronger, but so did the burden of war. On Calaris Station, an orbital city sheltering thousands of refugees, the Dracs launched their attack. The defenders were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing destruction. Samuel watched the battle unfold on the command screen, tension lining his face. "We cannot hold them forever," he said. "If we stand still, we will lose." Jason suggested a risky plan. "We turn the station into a trap. Hidden drive cores, fake energy signatures. We confuse their sensors and draw them into a kill zone." Olivia led the evacuation, moving families through burning corridors. Smoke filled the halls. Alarms blared. Children cried. Her Marines carried them safely, following the plan with precision. The Thalians helped, learning quickly from humans who had faced war before. During the chaos, a young engineer, Noah Green, noticed a group of children trapped behind a collapsed bridge. Without hesitation, he stayed behind, holding a failing shield door. His hands ached, sweat ran down his face, but he refused to leave. The children escaped, and he stayed until reinforcements arrived. Later, his sacrifice became a story told across Thalian worlds. At the last moment, human reinforcements arrived. Drone ships swarmed the Dracs' heavy cruisers, jamming sensors and disabling weapons. Caleris Station survived, though scarred. The Drax fleet pulled back, confused and shaken. In the aftermath, some Drax officers began to question their strategy. Tal Ven, a young officer, whispered to his peers, "These humans, they fight like predators, but with honor. How can we beat them if we rely on fear alone?" The story of humans spread quickly. Refugee camps buzzed with tales of Marines saving children, engineers repairing water systems, and pilots destroying enemy ships with clever tactics. The Thelians began calling humans stormwalkers. Fear remained, but hope blossomed. Eric Hall watched the stars from the balcony of the Horizon Dawn. Fires burned below, but children laughed as they learned from humans, ate food shared by strangers, and began rebuilding shelters. He felt a quiet promise in his heart. Humanity had answered the call. They would continue to protect, fight, and stand for what was right. Lisa joined him. "Do you think we can keep being this way? Kind and strong at the same time?" Eric nodded. "We have to try. The galaxy is watching, and the choices we make now will shape the future." The Horizon Dawn and accompanying fleets prepared for their next mission. Their goal: strike deep into Drax territory, cut off their supply lines, and show that humans do not fight to conquer, but to defend. The war was escalating, but humanity's principles remained unchanged. As the ships moved into the unknown, the bond between humans and Thelians strengthened. Every rescue, every strategic victory, and every act of mercy reinforced trust. The Drax would soon learn that humanity's strength was not only in weapons and tactics, but in the courage to protect the helpless and the resolve to fight with honor. The price of mercy was high, but the choice to take it had made humans and their allies stronger than ever before.